This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Poverty exists when one lacks typical, socially acceptable things or possessions. People who are in poverty lack basic needs that vary from one context to another. The common understanding of basic needs is things necessary for continued existence. Many people around the globe face the problem of poverty. Poverty links to the human population and their activities in the environment. The human population affects the environment negatively due to poverty, resulting in environmental degradation and a cycle of poverty. Poverty and the environment. Poverty and the environment are interlinked, as poverty leads to the degradation of the environment. On the other hand, the issues of poverty eradication and degradation of the environment are often treated separately, hence the failure to address the issues effectively and reduce poverty around the globe. Human activities have led to the destruction of the environment, and the trend shows that there is a bleak future ahead unless the destructive activities on the environment are halted or regulated to avoid destroying the environment further, as future generations are in jeopardy. For instance, people living in poverty destroy natural resources such as forests to clear land to plant food. Consequently, deforestation leads to environmental challenges like flooding. Moreover, the high human population also causes the destruction of the environment when people live on land near rivers and clear tracts of forests to inhabit. World poverty. Close to 40% of the world's total population live in poverty, according to a World Bank estimate in 2004. The explosion in population causes a strain on the environment and pushes millions of people into poverty. Poverty varies from one country to another, and poverty in developing countries is more dire than in the developed countries. Poverty depends on class, race, and gender. For example, more women than men live in poverty. The poor struggle in their lives as they are disadvantaged in society and often face prejudice for being lazy. World poverty is caused by a number of factors, such as inequality of resource distribution, wars and conflicts, natural disasters such as earthquakes, flooding, droughts, degradation of the environment, and social inequality, among others. It is important to note that the levels of world poverty have reduced with global economic growth, but many people are still living in poverty. Persistence of global poverty. The reasons for the persistence of world poverty are things such as discriminatory trade policies that favor only the developed countries in the international market and exploit the developing nations. Hence, they are unable to make a profit that can be used in fighting poverty. Wars and conflicts that emerge in countries from time to time keep people in poverty. For instance, the war in Iraq has contributed to high levels of poverty among the citizens. Other factors, such as corruption in governments, make fighting poverty impossible, as a few rich embezzle public funds. The continued unequal distribution of resources confines people to poverty. Furthermore, those born into poor families are unable to break away from the cycle as they do not get opportunities to acquire education and thus grow and live in poverty like their poor parents. Addressing global poverty. However, world poverty can be addressed by acknowledging that poverty and the environment are connected. Then, look for ways of helping people to acquire food without having the need to deforest. If people can access food, they can concentrate on economic activities to improve their situation. Governments should also deal with corruption because it leads to the misuse of funds that would have been used to lift the standards of living of the people. The international business laws and policies should also change to give all countries a fair opportunity at the international market. More importantly, people should be empowered through training and given access to loans to start small businesses to gain a source of livelihood. Benefits of global poverty. Some countries may favor continued world poverty because it enables them to take advantage of the poor countries that depend on them by exploiting resources in such countries through multinational corporations. Organizations in such countries that concern themselves with the issue of poverty may never want to see poverty eradicated because they would not have any business, and many of their employees would become jobless. The countries may also want poverty to continue so that they can lend loans with high interest to poor nations. Thus, world poverty may benefit a few countries. Did you like the relationship between poverty and the environment sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the free database of academic paper examples at ivypanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs, without even having to register.